Hey Rob, I'm on.
Hey, Josh, how's it going?
Good.
All right. So I'm just gonna get my phone real quick. We're in the
No worries.
it's a practice mode until I turn it on. But
Got it.
in a second.
Yeah, and just to let you know, I don't have the ability to turn on my camera, but that's okay.
That's fine.
Yeah.
We're gonna have the screen sharing. So
Yeah. No, I'm saying if I try to turn it on, it says the host disabled it. So uh,
got it.
it's yeah,
No
yeah,
problem.
yeah, yeah.
I might have an issue with doing it in this mode. My blue beam.
Oh, there you go. Presentation mode.
Yeah, but I can't see the controls for the meeting now.
Yeah, that's no fun.
No. So I'll have to do it like this mode, which doesn't look great, but oh well.
You know, you can minimize the bar on the right if you, I think, shrink it a little bit more. I don't know. Sometimes it lets you if you know that the panel that shows all the pages to the left, sorry, to the left, um,
Oh,
if you want to try to shrink that a little bit more, you might be able to with thumbnails.
yeah.
maybe
No.
maybe,
Yeah, I'm
maybe
just gonna
not.
leave it alone. I was gonna join. All right, I'm just gonna
That's
roll with it
fine.
this way.
Yeah,
People can
no
see it.
worries.
Good enough.
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm able to see the participant list.
You are?
Yeah,
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I think
well, yeah.
so we have a couple attendees joining now.
Ron Patrick is on. I just looked at the attendee list. He's there along with two other folks.
Yep, yeah, I see them. Yeah, and okay, yeah, we're live now, so
Oh, okay.
everyone can hear. But for the attendees that are joining, we'll give a little introduction, but you'll have a chance to speak at the end of the presentation as people are trickling in. Hey, Ashesh, is Michael going to be joining us, or is it just you for Steinberg?
Just me.
Okay. All right, so it's 6 o'clock. We have a couple people joining. We'll give folks another couple minutes. What do you think, Steve? Like
yeah, let's wait a couple minutes
before we get started.
Yes.
For folks who are just joining, we're just giving people another minute or two here before we get started. These folks still trickle in.
All right. Hello. I think we're gonna get started here. It's been a few minutes letting people roll on in. I am Steve Edwards with Ensemble Investments. We have Rob Gomez with Ensemble, and we have Ashesh with Steinberg Hart, our architects. So today we'll be walking you through our project 5185 Lafayette Street on the corner of Lafayette and Calle de Luna. Yes, I get Mundo and Luna mixed up sometimes, but Calle de Luna. Let's go to the next slide, Rob. Thank you. So on us at Ensemble, we've been, and I specifically have been involved in the Tasman East area for like 9 years, I believe. We started in the project with acquiring 2278 Calle de Luna, which is our first project that we're under construction right now. That's called the Ave Santa Clara that you can see on the screen right there. That's a 311 unit project with 15,000 square feet of retail on the ground floor. We're about at the 6th floor right now and are planning to open that project in the fall of 2024. We also have a project called Parkside, which is on the top of the image there. That is a 301 unit project, and we've entitled, and we're in plan check on that right now. We're looking to break ground in 2024. We have Mainline, which is right south of Parkside. That was a project that we entitled and then worked with the city, USA Properties, and Related to build a 100% affordable project. We're pretty proud of that process and what we were able to achieve there, because we were able to offer a deeper level of affordability than we would have with 100% moderate AI or AMI units. So we're pretty proud of that, and that's under construction right now. Once that's finished, we actually own the retail of that, so we'll be populating the retail with hopefully a interesting restaurant or experience, and eventually there'll be a walk street there. We also own 2354 Calle de Mundo, which is a small project of 89 units. And we've been looking at different scenarios on how to move forward with that project. And we'll be taking that likely through plan check later this year. And today we're going to be discussing 5185 Lafayette, which is on the corner there below 2354. And one item to notice as well, I forgot already, the 221 Tasman is also a site that we have entitled already. It's a high rise, it's a 20-story building or 21-story building. And that's going to be sometime in the future. In the interim, we're converting that Carl's Jr. to an indoor-outdoor beer, food, and game garden that we're pretty excited about. And that will hopefully activate the district for the residents that are there and some of the existing users that are there with approachable, fun food and drink. And we have our operator on board, which we're really excited about. So let's go to the next slide. So these are the projects I just went through. Ave Santa Clara is on the left. Again, that's the one in construction. And you can see the current shot of the construction in the image right next to it. And the beer garden will kind of be in the foreground on that. There's a lot going on in the district with Greystar, Related, and Summerhill all in construction. So we're excited to, have people move in a year and a half and really make this district something special. And then there's an image of the Parkside, which fronts a public park that will be building half of it, and Summerhill will be building half of it. That is decently close to our 5185 Lafayette. So people will be using that park. And then there's our Calle de Mundo project, which is right to the north of our project we're discussing today. And for some of you, if you guys don't know, this is kind of an overview of where the whole neighborhood fits in context with the existing neighborhood of the residences across the Tasman, and then Levi Stadium, the convention center, and then the to be built Related City Santa Clara. But one of the aspects that we really like about 5185 Lafayette is, and I'll mention this in a second, we believe it's kind of a secondary gateway to the district. The beer garden will actually be the first gateway. We're in between Related and Ensemble down there, Tasman across from the light rail. But at Lafayette, we have the Amtrak station, and we have a multimodal kind of bus stop near that Amtrak station. So a lot of people want to walk on and off that. And then when Related Santa Clara is eventually built, it'll be a good point on which to cross into Related Santa Clara or cross back over into our district. Let's go to the next slide. So I'm going to let Rob speak in a minute, but I just wanted to introduce this is the first image, or you saw it already in the first slide, but this is the high rise that we have planned. Again, this is a gateway, so we paid strong attention to the architecture of it and addressing that corner, as well as addressing what is across the street and what will be happening at Related Santa Clara. So we spent a lot of time on this. We're pretty proud of the architecture, and I'll let Rob kind of jump into some of the specifics.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve. Before I get into the specifics of the 5185 project, I just want to talk about format. So we're going to go through the project details, go through some images at the end, some renderings with the sketch of the architect. And then at the end, we're going to open it up for some questions and comments. So you'll have your chance to speak if you have anything to say. But before we do that, I'm going to run us through 5185 Lafayette. So it's 198 units, high-rise project. We've got amenities on several levels, including on the rooftop. We're going to have great views from the upper floors of the stadium, the entire district. Like Steve said, it is a gateway, and I think this is going to stand as a great way not only to represent the district, but also to enjoy it. There's going to be a mix of studios, 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units. With that, there's going to be parking, both subterranean and above the ground level. 310 total parking stalls, including ADA, EV charging, car share, and visitor stalls as well. It works out to be, for just the ones dedicated to the residents, about 1.5 parking stalls per unit. We also, as Steve mentioned, with the park and the proximity to other outdoor activities, we see this as being an active district. 110 bicycle parking stalls will be provided. 21-story building, as you can see here, 218 feet 8 inches in height. But from a street level, we want this to feel inviting. So we've designed a ground floor double height lobby to make it seem that much more approachable, accessible, and exciting to enter the building. We have amenities on the 6th floor of the fitness center and an outdoor amenity deck that you can see here on the left of the image. And then going up higher, you can see the other green space peeking out there, they're rendering. On the 21st floor, there's a pool deck, and there's also indoor lounge and other spaces that are related to that. I will go into more details on what all those amenities are. But given that it is a gateway to the district, And it is going to have easy access to that multimodal transit hub across the street on Lafayette that Steve was talking about. We want this to stand out. We want this to feel like people are coming home. So we made decisions to come up with an architecturally significant design with high quality exterior materials. We'll see more images later on that will go into more details on that, but leaning heavily into the glass and metal panel features that will make this attractive. And given that it is such a large prominent building on a highly visible corner, that this will be something that will be attractive, that'll look good, and that will be a good representation of the entire district. Talked about the ground floor earlier, not just in the lobby, but on the corner of Calle de Luna and Lafayette. There's gonna be a commercial flex space. You can see here in the rendering that can help activate that corner and again, make it attractive, not just from a vertical standpoint, but on the ground level as you're walking by, so that it doesn't feel like you're just at a busy intersection, but it is a walkable district that you're entering. Staying on the ground floor, getting into a little more details. This is a plan view of what will be happening. So Lafayette Street, Calle de Luna, on the bottom. Again, the double height resident lobby will be accessible from this roundabout drive access for drop-offs, food delivery, etc. As you enter the resident lobby, you'll be greeted by the leasing staff, areas to sit if you're waiting for friends, deliveries, rideshare, or just want to hang out in a public space. And then going back, we do have more spaces for the leasing staff offices, private offices for those leasing conversations, staff meetings, etc. Ground floor also will have a dedicated mail room and package room. We designed this package room. It seems like we never have enough room for packages. That still seems to be the preferred method of purchase these days, but we feel like we've budgeted for that well enough. The retail on the corner, accessible its own bathrooms. And then for residents, the bike storage space, which will be accessible both from the interior of the building, but also from Lafayette. Private, discreet, so it's safe, but still accessible for the residents. Ground floor also be where loading, trash pickup will take place. For the vehicles besides the drop-off area, coming along both Lafayette and Calle de Luna, there are vehicular entrances so that we can split up the where cars are going to be accessing the building when they go to their parking spot. We will talk more about parking later, though. We have to the 6th floor, our next amenity level. So we have a 2,300 square foot indoor fitness area that will be connected to an outdoor fitness space. You can do CrossFit or other classes, free weights if you want to go out there. It will be all accessible with the same equipment from the inside. To the north is a yoga patio where we found that it's a great community building activity to offer some classes, yoga being one particular. Want to take advantage of the nice weather when we have it to have that outdoor space for those classes. Last feature I want to point out here is we do have a couple indoor recording studios for, we're calling them recording studios, they could use for any number of activities, podcasts, taking calls, taking conferences, like a multimedia room for residents to access. I'll go up to the 21st floor. Amenities up here, obviously the pool deck stands out. There's a pool deck with spa, lounge chairs alongside the pool, some cabana covered or shaded seating, barbecue grills near the spa to make this a fun social area. We also have an outdoor entertainment room that can be reserved or open to whoever wants to use it. Ping pong, shuffleboard tables, TVs. To the south, we have an outdoor dining terrace. There are some fire pits that face south. So kitchen space and tables. Again, this can also be reservable for group events, friends, family parties, you name it. And finally, the indoor amenity space, which I'm highlighting over here. includes both a catering and show kitchens, ample seating space for indoor events if you want to reserve the space, as well as TVs or anything if you want to have some sort of viewing parties or you need some sort of multimedia accessibility for your event. So this is just another view of the 3 amenity areas, level 1, level 6, and level 21, showing the indoor and outdoor amenity spaces that are being provided. So I would like to turn it over to Ashesh with Steinberg Hart, talk more about the parking accessibility as well as go through some of the renderings that we have.
All right, great, Rob. Thanks for that. You all can hear me okay? Yeah, okay, great. So as Rob and Steve described, the ground floor experience was something that we really wanted to curate in a positive way, not just for the residents, but also for the adjacent neighbors. And here you can see the 2 locations to the north, one location where cars can enter into the garage, and to the east as well. And the reason for splitting this up is to really manage the amount of vehicular circulation that's happening on the site. And if you enter from the east, you're going up to the upper levels of the garage, and to the north, you're going down into the below grade levels. So next slide, Rob, can show that. So here you can see highlighted, we've got 310 parking stalls, and you can see that there's multiple levels above grade, and then a few levels below grade. We do have 2 levels of subterranean parking, which also constitutes a stacker system that we have down there. And I think from this diagram, you can see that we've really, even though the parking above grade is above the lobby area, you'll see in the slides coming up that we really took a lot of care to bring the residential units down towards the ground. So from Calle Luna, really, and the intersection of Calle Luna and Lafayette, what you see is the activity of the residents coming all the way to the ground level, and not necessarily the cars. So next slide. So here are the 2 views I was just describing. And really here, when we step back, you could see that we really tried to break up the massing of this tower. And with the multiple vertical volumes that we've created, we've allowed for the building to feel much lighter, and creating setbacks on those volumes really allows us to take a large scale floor plate and really break it up. And so we think this offers a lot of benefits as the gateway, working with the staff of the city, both Meha and Rebecca. As was mentioned, we were looking at that corner and really trying to understand how we could create a public plaza that greets you as you cross over to the Amtrak station and west of that. Next slide. So as you approach, this is the entry location. And further down, what you're seeing is the eastern portion of the site with access into the garage. And then you're seeing the double height lobby, along with the various volumes that we've created, also stopping at different elevations. So again, that creates this experience of an invitation that's covered for visitors and residents as well. Next slide. And here you are looking straight on to the entry of the lobby. There'll be some landscaping along the street edge, and then the double height lobby that you come into, that Rob described the various programmatic elements internally. Next slide. And just as you are at the drop off, you're looking back towards Lafayette in this view, and you can see beyond with the landscaped corner that's been heavily vegetated to really create that buffer to a very fast street, which Lafayette is, but also a place for respite right outside these amenity spaces and retail spaces. And I think that concludes the exterior presentation.
Yeah, thanks, Ashesh. So yeah, that concludes the formal presentation that we prepared today. So I would like to open up to any questions or comments that any of you have. I do see that there is a couple in the Q&A, so I will address those first. And then if you could use the raise hand feature, then I can call on you and unmute you, and you can ask your question then. Or if you feel more comfortable using the Q&A, you can also throw that question in there. Okay. First question is from Edward. Is related also part of this project? No, this project is just Ensemble. Related is not part of it. They're part of the district, but not this particular project. Next question is from Saj Jain. City's climate action plan requires one secure bike parking stall per unit with outlets for charging. Well, that's not something that, well, the bike parking that we have provided was per the specific plan for the district. I don't know if there's anything else to speak to that, Steve, but we have met the requirements that the specific plan is laid out for this district.
Yeah, maybe that's a requirement that is been set after we kind of submitted for this thing, so that but I think, I don't know if we have the room to provide all that parking, but I think we probably should look at providing chargers in those spaces, or not chargers, but plugs, because a lot of people do have electric bikes.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for those questions. Okay, I'm going to go into the hand raise. So Edward, your hand appeared first. I will unmute you.
Yeah, I've been living here in the northern part of Santa Clara for a number of years. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and we're kind of tired of this subway togos. We've got multiple togos and subways. I was hoping we could get something different, like a West Coast sourdough deli. The food is really good. I know you're going to have that beer area. I don't know what kind of food, if it's going to be pizza and hamburgers, but I've also noticed like a number of Starbucks popping up all over the place. The Mission College Boulevard and Great American Parkway, that Avatar development, they announced that another Starbucks is going in there. I mean, that could have been great if they could have put like a Huckleberry's restaurant in there. The beer area, do you guys know exactly what kind of food's going to be in that spot?
We are figuring that out now, but suffice it to say, it's not going to be a Togo's or a Subway. We're probably going to do 5 different food vendors there. One in the Old Carl's Jr., which will probably be burgers, and then 4 different food vendors in food carts outside. So we're kind of working to figure that out right now, but it's something that we will be creating with a kind of a hospitality company that does really cool stuff. So it's going to be unique and different. And then we have the retail in our building, which is I think it's about 14,000 square feet. We're going to have a full service restaurant and then another cafe type of place. So we're starting to look for potential tenants in those spaces. And our plan is to do something that's more unique and not a chain-based situation. So something that if there's coffee, it will not be Starbucks. So something more unique. But what is if you can say again, the deli you were talking about, it might be interesting to take a look at that specific deli.
Yeah, it's West Coast Sourdough Deli. Their food is really good. They've got a few in Elk Grove and Sacramento, California. And I know because of the lease rent being so high in this part of Santa Clara, there aren't too many coming in here that would be worth bringing in because of the lease rent. I noticed also you said a gymnasium. Is that going to be open to the public, or is it just for the residents there? And if it is open to the public, do you know about how much they would be charging for that per month?
The fitness center in this particular building will just be for the residents to access.
Okay, so there won't be any senior center like that, like they have in in the southern part of Santa Clara. But yeah, I look forward to the project. I'm really disappointed that related project they've had like 4 or 5 groundbreaking delays, and that was definitely going to bring a lot of different options as far as restaurants go. I was kind of hoping they would bring that in time for the Super Bowl that's coming in 3 years, and then all those international soccer matches coming. But unfortunately, they keep on delaying their groundbreaking. But thank you for your time.
Yep. Thanks, Edward. Thanks for joining the meeting.
Well, we're looking forward to those the World Cup kind of or the exhibitions and then the Super Bowl for sure. And with the beer garden and the different restaurants we're going to be putting in there. That's one of the selling points for the restaurant tours that we're talking to.
Yeah, we were pretty excited when we saw some of those events that were being awarded to Levi's. I think it's going to be great timing for the project that will be open by then. But thanks again, Edward. Okay, I see one other hand up. It's with Ron Patrick. I'm going to unmute you now. Ron, are you able to unmute on your end? There should be a little microphone icon that you should be able to click. I'm going to try to prompt it again, if that helps.
How's this?
Perfect. We can hear you.
Hi, guys. On Ensemble's website, the lot is listed as a Corman, AKA branded luxury furnished hotel. Is it going to be a hotel or is it going to be apartments?
Does it say hotel on the website?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's outdated then. At one point in time, it was being discussed, but that was, oh man, years ago, Steve. That wasn't even when we submitted to the city.
Okay.
So if that's showing up on the website, thanks for pointing that out. We'll get that updated. But these are going to be residential units.
So they're apartments, so it's not something somebody could buy and make money on. It's not an investment, it's a pure apartment. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
And there is a possibility we might work with Corman on it, but they would be as furnished apartments, not as a hotel.
Now you own the property 2354 Caldamundo, which is, well, it's adjacent to it. Why aren't you thinking of something combined? You have 21 stories and only 198 apartments.
Well, Ron, you know a little bit about or definitely a lot. Actually, you know a lot about those easements and across the alley. It would have been hard to go and vacate all those easements because you need them for your lot and different properties need them. So we did separate projects because of that. And we did look at trying to combine them, even if we could get rid of those easements. It was hard to make it work architecturally.
You spoke a number of times, you say it's a gateway, highly visible corner. You want to activate the district. You're not going to activate the district with a beer garden made out of shipping containers. Okay, you're going to have to build it big. Just strikes me as a strikingly unambitious proposal in the center of the largest mixed development west of the Mississippi. I see your 18 screens, but if you look at the project, it's actually quite small. Why don't you make it bigger? I mean, look at the related project there. It has a sense. It has some character. It's got some life. It seems to be a tiny project. At the end of Caldamundo, the first place that they've rented out, you walk by it and it's just understated. You know, why aren't you thinking bigger than just 198 apartments and a couple restaurants where you don't seem to have enough parking?
Well, taller we can't do because the FAA with the San Jose airport, and bigger, we only had this particular property, the owner to the east. We approached a number of times and just could never come to an agreement with them. Bigger sometimes is better, but in this case, this particular project for a high rise, it's about the right size for a high rise. We could have done other kind of a mid-rise associated with it if we had more land, but
Why
we
don't
looked
you-
at it in a number of different ways.
Now, this is the 198 apartments is on 1 acre, and you have a half acre beside it. Why don't you get the other half acre and build on 2 acres? With 2 acres, my calculation would say you get at least 500 apartments.
We could probably do, well, yeah, maybe.
There's other details like the yoga area. If you look at the way the sun's gonna go, it shades that area. It's also gonna shade my property, which is adjacent. You're proposing a bunch of retail there. I'm wondering if you have parking for that. Okay, most of the time people wanna park on the outside. I hope they don't wanna park on my property. Also the electricals, if you look at the plan, the electricals basically are, if you visit, I think you visited the project, I've seen you here at least once. But on Lafayette, you have a bunch of old telephone poles that are bent and overloaded with power and internet. And also on the island part of the project, there's a huge power line that goes down the center. I look at the proposal, and all is stated there is to build bigger telephone poles. It's kind of looking like a third world country. You know, you're kind of squeezing in something there.
Shesh, I'm not sure if we've gotten to this. With our joint trench, aren't we running power on the front of the property now?
Yes, we are. Yeah, that's correct. So some of those lines will be undergrounded, and that's how we're going to be able to manage some of the. And we've worked with our joint trench consultant who's worked with Silicon Valley Power to really place those pole boxes in locations that work for the infrastructure that's being proposed.
But I know what the city does. What they do is they hit you up to put the stuff underground around your property. But the problem is, as soon as you go off of your property, you go back up into the air. I know it's half as much when you run the lines above ground than underground. But if you look at this thing, go visit the sites, the poles are bending. I mean, they're offset by at least 1.5 feet at the top because they're being overloaded with lines. And it's not just that, it just seems that you're trying to stuff too much into too little area. You need to buy a little bit more land. If you had a full 2 acres, you could be really something. I mean, fly over this area and look where you are. You're in the center of this project. And you could build something really spectacular, but instead you're kind of making do.
Oh, yeah.
This is supposed to be, according to Suds or Raj, this is supposed to be Santana Row on steroids. But except for the related project, a lot of being what's built is really like understated. It's kind of like Me Too places.
Well, actually, yeah, that's, I think, well, compared to some of the other stuff I've worked on and we're doing in like Philadelphia and Southern California, if it was just us building this one building, I would agree with you. But since Related is across the street and Ensemble has 4 other projects in the area, and Gray Star and Holland are building Summerhill, I think it is going to be quite a phenomenal area. And collectively, we have thought big and worked with the city to create an area that I think people will want to live and be proud of. But I understand like what you're saying about like this one particular project. Why couldn't you make it bigger? But collectively, I think it's going to be an exciting area.
It's better than a bunch of open fields, but come on, you know, we've been around, you know, New York and Paris. Monte Carlo and various places. It just seems that we're thinking too small here, except for Related. I mean, that place has a soul, what they built across the street, and everything else seems to be kind of like a wooden shack. You know?
Well, Rob, let's see if there's any other questions, and Ron, we can come back to you if you'd like.
Fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump over to we had a question that popped up on the Q&A. From Kathy. First question is, do you foresee working with the VTA and create some bus stops? I don't believe that has come up in their conversations with planning yet. Have you heard anything about that, Steve?
I have not. I mean, we're pretty close to the VTA and we're close to the multimodal thing. I think there was discussion of some larger plan to have shuttles running between different places, and but specific to this project, I know there's nothing planned right now.
Next question. There's 3 more. I'll run through all of Kathy's before I move on. Will there be security in the garage during events at the stadium? There have been issues with fans trying to park in other apartment complexes. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, that'll definitely be an operating issue when we get a little further along with an operator and bringing them on board. We will have the regulations and rules that they'll be working through, and they'll get familiarized with the area, and that might be something that they do, is to employ additional staff during big events. We see it when there's soccer games, football games at the stadium. There's an increased traffic control presence, but that's not going to prevent people from trying to access the garages. So yeah, that's a good issue to bring up, and something that we will have our operator address with likely additional staffing during large events. But
it'll be gated and secure as well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It'll just be accessible for residents, and then again, there will be some visitor spots as well. But it's something to just keep in mind in general when there's an influx of people in an area. Next question is, will this be the tallest building in Tasman East?
Ask a Shesh.
Yeah, Shesh, is Related taller?
No, it won't be the tallest. It'll be all the towers are restricted to the same height limit in the district, 220 feet. So this will be on par with the Related towers across the street.
Great. The last question, Kathy, was, finally, will any of these units be set aside as affordable units? Yes, there is an affordable requirement for the district, and we'll be providing affordable units per that requirement.
Yep.
All right, now I'm going to go back. We have another hand raised. Shreya, I'm going to ask or allow you to speak if you'd like to unmute.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm Shreya Choksi, Development Manager at Catalyze SV. We at Catalyze SV are a non-profit advocacy firm engaging community members, developers, and city leaders to envision and create sustainable, equitable, and vibrant places for people in Silicon Valley. And we are really excited about such housing being developed in a vibrant and dense manner. So my question was similar to last question asked about the AMI levels served.
The AMI levels? Yeah, so for the specific plan, this was done a while ago, the AMI levels are 100% AMI for the projects in this area, including this one. However, we did the Mainline North project that I mentioned earlier, and we did something pretty unique there, where it was, instead of building 100% AMI units, both us and Related, we moved our affordable requirement to that building, and instead of building 100, I don't know the exact numbers right now, but in 110 80%, 100% AMI units, we built 150 at an average of 60% AMI units. Because when you put all the units on one site and do 100% affordable project, there's tax credit, equity, there's bond financing, and there's a whole way to work a project to where it almost multiplies the impact you have. So there's a potential that we're looking to do that here as well with a couple other developers on another project. So if that happens, and we're talking with the city now, we'll create a lot of additional value affordably for the city, which would be really cool. We're really it was hard to figure out on the Main Line North, but we did, and I think it's something that should be done again.
That would be really good, and we would appreciate considering more and more affordable units on site. And we are excited about this project. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Shreya. Okay, I see, Ron, you have your hand raised still, so it's the only other hand raised, so I will ask, or I'll allow you to speak again.
I'd just like for you to be a bit more ambitious in what you're proposing here. Beer gardens and yoga and meeting rooms on the 4th story and in a pool. This thing's going to be here for 40 years before it's torn down. It doesn't strike me as something that's worthy to be built unless you make it a little bit bigger than a couple restaurants on the ground floor. Yeah.
Well,
Over on the other side, related spending, I think 800 M on the building, property cost them 50. And they're gonna really have something there, a real soul. And I would like to continue.
Ron, which one are you talking about? Are you talking about across Lafayette or across Calle de Luna?
On Cal de Luna.
Okay. Okay. The one they're in construction on now.
Yeah, the huge building that they're doing there. I have nothing but impressed with what they're doing. You know, I understand Steve, you know, is from New York and they build big stuff, and we're kind of like hillbillies out here in comparison to New York, you know. But he's bringing it here, you know, and some of these other proposals I've seen are just like tiny schlocky places. They're not impressive. You know, this is some of there's 300 acres here. It's the last large plot of land left in Silicon Valley. I've been here since '62, and nothing but boom here. Okay, it's going to be boom forever. This is a great place to invest. So build big, build impressive, and this is just a little not as impressive as I'd want to see.
Well, Ron, thanks for the feedback. Like Steve mentioned, we've been working with the city and a collective of developers, and we're proud of that's being done there. Not just this project, but the others. You know, obviously, other differing opinions and feedback are welcome. But I think given what we can only control, which is the land that Ensemble controls, and the other developers can only control the land that they control. But given that we have been working very collaboratively together, there have been regular calls to coordinate construction efforts the best we can, to make sure that the buildings are communicating with each other as much as you can control. And I think it's going to be a dynamic district, like Steve said. But we appreciate your feedback on that.
Yeah, Ashesh, let's make it 50 stories, can't we?
Yeah, we just have to reroute some planes.
Okay.
Buy some more land. Buy some more land.
All those easements.
There's no easements. Buy some more land. That's all you need.
Yeah, I think I would just echo what Rob and Steve are saying, Ron, that this is, I think it's really important to look at this holistically as the entire district. And everyone's bought a lot of land in that district from the various folks who are coming in to develop. And when you step back and look at it as a district, I think it's going to be something that's going to be a real catalyst. And this project that we have tonight is really one piece of a larger puzzle. And we think it's a key piece. And I think collectively we're pretty proud of what it's able to achieve with the constraints that we have, which we have maximized the property that we can utilize for the specific project. So I think I'd ask you to see if you could just step back and see the district as a whole, and I think that could really create some real excitement not only for Santa Clara but the Bay Area in general. So
How
thank
much
you.
does it cost to build the building?
Well, we don't have a final construction cost right now. We're still in the entitlement process, but it's going to cost a lot.
Approximately 16:1, the land to building ratio. This stuff's cheap out here, man. Okay? Land is cheap out here. Buy some more land.
Well, if you can point us to some good deals, in all seriousness, we would take a look.
Come talk with me.
All right, Ron, let's talk.
That's it? Cool.
Yeah. Unless there's any other questions, we'll give folks another minute here. If not, thanks everyone for your time, and good questions, good feedback that we've gotten along the way. And like we said before, we're excited about this project and continue working with the city, Rebecca and May in particular, on finishing out this process. Okay. All right, I don't see any other questions. All right, thank you, everybody. Have a great evening.
Bye.